through my music career, I've interacted with various professional sports things. Either you're singing the anthem, or there was an all-star pitcher for the Minnesota Twins named Glenn Perkins who loved us. He'd seen us in the TV show and he just loved us. So he invited us out a couple times to the Twins stadium before a game. He took us through the clubhouse, the training room, and he introduced us to some of the other players, and it was cool. And to him, he's like, well, this is just my job. This is where I come to work. This is normal to me. This isn't that big a deal. Like, you want to see it? All right, cool. But he was so fascinated about what we did with the music stuff and being on TV singing and the behind the scenes and stuff. And so it was interesting seeing those two worlds. Yeah. And it was fascinating for us. It was fascinating for him. Yeah. Those kind of connections are great.
It's so interesting. I'm curious, just a little side tangent of in your Patreon. Have you ever considered like making your own quote unquote Patreon in the sense of like where because they take like 25%, 20 to 30%?
No. No, they don't. Where are you getting that number?
Is it? Am I wrong? Is it 10%?
It's about 10%. It's 5% that they just take off the top, and about another 3 or 4% that's credit card.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. Yes.
So even within that, and there are different levels. You can also get more support from them, and they'll take more if you want more support. I have thought about it a little bit. I know it's something Austin has done. He made his own version of it, and ultimately I decided it wasn't worth the hassle of not having that infrastructure and having to do it all myself.
I understand that for sure. Absolutely.
And then this way I don't have to deal with tech support as much, although I still kind of do. Because unfortunately, if something goes wrong, the patron is going to blame me. They might blame Patreon, but I'm still the one that loses because I'll just give up. Yeah. So I'm still invested in tech support, even though it's not my problem. I think Patreon works. Yes, there are alternatives out there. I know Facebook and Instagram and all stuff that tried to do their own version of it, and YouTube.
Oh, did they? Interesting, yeah.
There is.
YouTube did with the join button, yeah, for sure, yeah.
And Facebook's got something for artists as well.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's hit as much. I just haven't heard much about it since they launched a couple years ago. I think it still works. It's worth it for what I do. I know it's changed. I've noticed quite a difference. I was one of the early adopters of Patreon with Home Free. We jumped on it that first year.
Wow.
And we became one of the most successful acts on the platform.
Wow. Very cool.
And I've seen it change. I know it's been a long time now. A lot of my people, I found it very interesting. I have my perks listed on the site, but a lot of them, they don't care. And
they just want to support you for you.
Yeah, and I'm scared to say that. I always feel if I start actually saying it out loud, then they'll stop caring, and then problems. But I'll have various perks, and if I don't deliver them for a project because it just doesn't make sense, if I do something that doesn't have a behind the scenes, like no one even cares. Or like if I have, let's say, 50 people at the behind the scenes level, I will put in a lot of time and effort. I'll make that video, I'll put it out, and it'll get 2 views. Yeah. I'm saying, the 50 people, only 2 of you watched this. What am I doing this for?
Yeah. But they just want to support you. Yes, I totally understand that.
So that's a balance point. Because you don't want to be spending money and investing in something that's not being used or appreciated. So I'm very careful and thoughtful about what my Patreon stuff is, and I actually need to redo it myself and revamp my levels to find stuff that actually is valuable, that they would care about and want to use.
Yeah, because if you continue, even if they just want to support you for you, and then you end up over-delivering content that they actually do want to watch, it's like a win-win-win for them. Yeah. Because if they'd be supporting you anyway, and now they feel like, oh, this stuff is cool, extra cool, it's a win-win for everybody now.
When I first started my Patreon myself, living home free, one of the special perks I did was I was going to release the sheet music of everything I did, and I'd sign it for them.
Oh, that's cool. It out. That's really cool.
It was cool in theory. It was not cool in practice. Kind of, but then they started getting in. At first, I did it every month, and then that got, way too expensive to ship it out every month, and I'm losing money then doing that. So then I cut down to once every quarter. Mm-hmm. So 4 times a year, I'd send out the music for the previous quarter.
It's a lot of work too, though, right?
I was printing thousands of pages of paper, signing it all, shipping it out. And then I realized that most of them didn't care. They started getting annoyed with it. Like, oh God, I got another packet from Chris. I don't care about this, and just throw it away.
Yeah. So it totally goes back to you saying, find out what your supporters want and deliver on that.
So I got rid of that perk and nobody cared. And I was saving hundreds of dollars every month by not doing that perk anymore.
That is so.
That's one thing I learned too with Patreon. Any perk you do cannot cost you any money. It just can't. It's got to be stuff you can just do with a little bit of time. Like the MP3s, the karaoke tracks, that doesn't take much work. You can send that out. Even behind the scenes is questionable because it does take time to make the behind the scenes happen. That perk's a little more valuable than others. Doing like a video commentary, that can work because that's just a little bit more of your time.
Interesting.
Yeah, but if it's anything physical, it's a waste and you're costing money that they don't care about.